Sparking Change for Harmonious Living is a TV show that inspires action. It motivates you to start a journey towards a more balanced, fulfilling life. This show explores well-being through spirituality, mental clarity, and physical health. It covers topics like mindfulness, nutrition, fitness, and spirituality, giving you practical advice to enhance your life. Tune in for a transformative adventure that ignites the change you seek.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change for Harmonious Living. I am your host, Giovanna Tartarone.
And I'm your co-host, Ahmed Bahman.
And we are here today to talk about the awakened soul, reconnecting to your higher self. And to me, this show is probably being one of the most important shows I'm ever going to do, because I'm speaking from experience. And I do know that once we are connected to our higher self and working from a higher level, we're in alignment. We are living harmoniously. So let's just get right into it, Ahmed. I know you had yours as well, and both of us are really talking from our own experiences and how life has changed when we're connected.
It happens to anybody actually throughout their lives, probably once, twice, or even multiple times. But it all depends on what is their state of consciousness, what is their level of awareness. You see, like, it's only in the moments of silence that we become receptive to listen to the divine whispers that's within us. And it doesn't just happen overnight.
No, it doesn't.
Some people lose a bit of patience. But I tell you this, it's time to make what's wholly important in our lives. And with that said, I mean God first, family second, and work third. Why? The question is why? Why do we have to move in this order? Where if you look at everything moves from spirit to form, right? No, we have God, but the second after God is our family. These are the ones we're closest related to. And then it goes on to the sustenance part, the work and everything else. That's an extension of your life as well. Why? Because it gives us contentment, strengthens our reason or our why, and keeps us balanced. You'll have a happy, harmonious life. You're not worried. You're not stressed anymore.
Absolutely. And, from my own experience, I do know that prior to really connecting to higher consciousness, right, as we call it, awakening the soul, I was stressed. I was working, I thought I was pretty much alone trying to make it in this world, not knowing that I was never alone. And through my experience, when you're at the very bottom, when you hit bottom, you have nowhere else to go. Either you're going to go under or you're going to raise to the top. And when you raise to the top is because you've reconnected to the very source, to the very creator that has made you. And hence, through my experience, and I created this book, The Power of the Rainbow, 7 Steps to Spark Change in You. And it's truly about it's not even about my journey, but the steps that I had to experience in order to become the person that I am meant to be, right? I wasn't meant to have stress in my life. I wasn't meant to have cancer in my life. I wasn't meant to try to experience all good and bad alone. I realized that God was always with me the whole time. And I disconnected from God because I was focused on the outside. What people would say, how much money I have to make, what degrees I have to go get. All of that became more important than me and my soul. And that's where I got disconnected.
And this is the part, like you managed to be aware of the health that you're in, right?
Mhm.
Now, it was Prophet Muhammad who stated, he said, a healthy mind is always in a healthy body.
Yeah.
What is mind? Mind is not the brain, as we all explained, as our late mentor Bob Proctor explained to us. He said, mind is as much as in your hair as it is as much as in your fingernail. It encompasses your
Right.
entire state of being. But you, with your rainbow program, have really tapped into the essence of your entire state of being, and you managed to realign yourself. You corrected
I
that with the
tell you,
adjustment.
when you're off course, you have no other option. Either you correct it or you're still going to be suffering. And so,
Wait,
yeah.
but would you please explain to us uh, the word rainbow? I saw all of the letters are in capital, and that means that it's an acronym to
Yes, yeah.
something great.
So R is for reconnecting. I mean, that is the first step, right? We need to reconnect to our authentic self. And when we do that, we feel that we're never alone. We feel that we can do things that we never thought we can do. A is for conscious awareness, awareness of the inner soul. What drives us to feel good is when we are in alignment and we are in connection with the very being of our soul. You know, we get guidance. Are we listening? So being aware of what the guidance is, what consciousness really is very important. I is for imagination. We must imagine. We must use our imagination of what we want. We're always speaking what we don't want. And we're always speaking the words we can't and we don't have and we can't do. We need to stop speaking that way. We need to start speaking what we really want. And we started with the imagination. We imagine what we want and we start speaking what we want. And our soul is listening every time we do that. And we're nurturing the soul by doing that, right? We're nurturing the soul by imagining all the good health that we want, the good fortunes that we want in our life, the good relationships we want in our lives. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean we can't have it. You
It's
can
like what
have
they
it.
say, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Love that. Absolutely. And B is for believing. Change your beliefs. Once you change your beliefs, because beliefs are inherited sometimes. More than 90% of our beliefs, our belief system is from our generation, our ancestors. They're not even our beliefs. So why not create new beliefs that are empowering us? Because when you are connected, you're empowering yourself, right? And always for optimism, having a positive mental attitude, having an attitude of gratitude. Every day now, I write down 10 things I'm grateful for. You know, we do our camp in the morning at 5:30. That is the first thing I do when I get up out of bed. Why? Because I know I was this close from losing my life. And God granted me another chance. But I had to change. If I didn't change and I did not get reconnected to my soul, my higher self, the creator, I would not be here doing this show today. And W is for wins. I am the winner of my life. Life is a game. And we all can win this game of life when we take control of our lives and get connected to the very being of our soul, our core being, and listen to that little voice that you said. It's whispering to us, go do it. You can do it. And then there's that other, the ego mind. No, you can't. Who do you think you are? No, go do it. So, I'm here with you, Ahmed, doing this show. This was
Yes.
not in my, 5-year plan. I promise you. This is not something I wrote on my resume that I'm going to do. This is, because when you do open up yourself, our soul is a vessel of service. We're here to serve. And when you're connected with your very being, You will serve everyone and everyone with love, compassionate, and that's what makes this world better. Right now, we're living in a world of chaos. Why? Because we are disconnected. So R is for reconnecting. That is step one. And I'm glad you brought this up. I've hidden myself from really coming out and explaining this book from my very essence of why I'm here. And I'm here to truly help people reconnect to their soul and awaken that soul to know that they have the potential within them to achieve their dreams, and stop looking on the outside, because the outside is not going to help you. In fact, the outside stops you. We need to go in, do the inner work to open up our soul, awaken our soul, and live life to the fullest. Because we have a time clock and it's ticking. We're all going to move on. So why not enjoy this journey here? Because it is a special journey that you're here to do. Find out what your gifts are. This is what we do, Ahmed. We help people find their gifts, connect to their soul, find their true gifts and their passion, and go out and serve. And when we're doing it at that level, you're being guided. You're being led. People will come into your life. You're going to meet, you're going to create your circumstances, right? What's the other quote that said that instead of us waking up and things are happening to us, we create.
Yeah, George Bernard Shaw stated, he said, I wake up in the morning and look for the circumstances, and if I don't find the circumstances that I'm looking for, I make them.
That's so beautiful. We need to stop waiting for someone outside of us to make our life better. Making our life better starts with us. And until we take control and stop putting the blame on the old story, the why I can't, all the reasons why, something can't happen because the masses or 90% of the people didn't do this. What makes me think I could do this? Well, you know what? You are special and you have gifts and you can do anything you want to do. And you're the only one, I always said this, you're the only one who puts the brakes on. Get your foot off the brake and get going and start enjoying life, because that's what you're meant to do, right?
It's like Bob always said, people keep blaming others for everything. He said, you need to turn this finger around and,
That's
and, and
right.
point it at yourself. Because you see, God is infinite. We set the limitations for ourselves.
Right.
God is all about abundance, but we put a limit on our abundance.
Absolutely.
Now, I usually like to connect things holistically, as much as it's about the mind, right? As much as it's about having good traits in terms of the way we think and how we can maintain it with an aligned feeling. I used to have a difficulty back in the day when I really couldn't focus that much, or I was edgy, or I was agitated. Now, in order to have that stillness in silence, there are certain things that I want to talk about. And many of you might be somewhat aware of this by experience whenever you maintain a season of having certain amount of stimulants or an extra added food into your diet, for a person that consumes a lot. We want to discuss the difference between moving from sluggishness, sleep, and slumber into being light spirited and awakened. But if you're not cultivating, remember, your body is a holy temple.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you reside in. And in terms of stimulants, I want to explain something similar, like to tea and coffee. It contains an element called caffeine. Now, did you know that caffeine is a natural insecticide? that the coffee plant produces in order to avoid being eaten by the bugs.
I was so
It's,
surprised when I heard that. Could not believe
it's
it.
quite interesting. Yes, it acts as a stimulant, it wakes you up. But in the plant kingdom, it produced it, or God gave it this kind of ability in order that it can thrive and reproduce without being harmed by itself. Caffeine is also considered a neurotoxin. As much as everybody talks about the beneficial, um, don't get me wrong, I love coffee, but I had to stay away from it because of it, because it always kept me on the edge. I've always had a very short temper with that,
That was me too.
and it wears away something called the mammalian sheath. Now, what is a mammalian sheath? It's if you look at a cable, you see the copper wires, but then it's coated with something in order to protect that layer.
Right.
The mammalian sheath protects the nerves. So therefore, that's why caffeine affects your entire nervous system, because it wears this protective layer out of the way. Research
Creating
about it.
stress. I mean, if that's kind of like where it's leads to, right? Creating stress,
Yeah.
anxiety, depression.
Nervousness, headaches, sleeplessness, anxiety, and a lot of other neurological disorders. That's why when people get off of the caffeine, sometimes you find
The
like
withdrawals.
parts of your face starts to twitch, or your eyelids twitches. You're having these certain withdrawals. Um, but that was one way that I managed to, once I've cleaned my food, right?
Mhm.
Once I stopped having those stimulants, my patience grew much more. I was calmer. I was able to respond in the most difficult times instead of reacting. And sugar was another thing. Sugar, in its refined sugar is what I'm
Mhm.
talking about here. Have your fruits by all means. Let me tell you something else about sugar. The table sugar that you're having, I don't care if it's white sugar or brown sugar. It's still called sucrose. Now, sucrose is a combination of fructose and glucose. Now, in order for your body to break down sucrose, it will start to produce uric acid in the blood. So, therefore, you're going to alter the pH balance by making your body more acidic. And that's not at the level of homeostasis, where the body can rejuvenate and heal. In order for the body to rejuvenate and heal, the blood should be at a pH of 7.8.
Mhm.
That's what they call the homeostasis level.
So it's important to have a healthy, balanced
Yes.
diet
Yes.
as well when you are seeking more in your life, right? Because when we are stressed
Absolutely.
out, it has to do with there's a connection to what we're eating as well that gives us the feeling of just not being ourselves, our
Yes.
authentic selves is really what we're
Now,
coming to
yeah.
say.
Now, fruits are a bit different. You see, and I highly suggest if you're gonna have a fruit, eat it. Don't juice it. And there's a reason, because when you take it with the fiber, it doesn't allow your insulin to spike. It allows a slow release of fructose into the bloodstream. Now, your body can handle, like a lot of people say, oh, that means we shouldn't have honey either. Honey does not rot, first of all. Honey has healing properties, and it's not, how can I say, empty calories, because it's loaded with nutrients. But make sure if you can find a local beef farm, that's the best honey you can get, and try to get it raw if possible. Now, honey has a very unique type of sugar structure. It has fructose and glucose, but in isolated form. It's not sucrose. Therefore, it goes straight into the bloodstream as a digested form that you
We
don't
need to
have to
do
break
another
down.
show. We need to do another show on all this because you have a lot of knowledge that is very helpful to the well-being, right, of our body and maintaining our vessel in a healthy state. Let's jump into, um, you know, our intuition, right? We have this little voice, even with eating, right? Don't eat that. Don't eat that. You know, today I saw a big smorgasbord of all breakfast item, croissants and chocolate cookies. They were celebrating birthday and cake and all that. And I'm like, I want that. And I had to
Yes.
refrain myself, listening to that inner voice saying, no, it's not healthy for you. Don't eat it. But let's just talk about that inner voice that to me, it's like the wisdom guiding me, right? It's my own intuition guiding me to take the necessary steps to reach my goal, right?
And there's one point that I believe that you can agree with me on, and that is fasting.
Oh, absolutely. So should I tell everybody what I did?
Yes, by all means, go ahead.
I was able to fast for 1 week to totally detox my body when I I awakened my soul, because it is a cleansing process that you're going to go through on a spiritual level to the physical level to help you get truly reconnected to who you are. And my family couldn't believe it that I did it. And I'll be honest with you, I can imagine I did it too. Like, I really did it. Just drinking water for a whole week,
No, no food, no solids,
no solids.
nothing. But it was during that moment that your spirit awakened, because you see what happens is when people consume too much food, the soul has to do a lot of work to help the body to digest, right?
Mm.
Your intuition cannot be awakened that way. So but when you're fast, your spirit becomes light, and you could feel it. If you notice that whenever somebody starts to fast, their mind sharpens, their eyesight becomes like a searching mechanism for something. Like whenever, even at the time that you break your fast and you start to eat, food tastes better. Your awareness expands during that moment. And Sister Giovanna, when you went through a whole week without any food, just water, all of the toxins in the body or the pathogens that are there, your white blood cells are highly refreshed. It's like you put your entire endocrine system through a reset,
Yeah.
where it started to consume all of the things that were not supposed to be there, because you allowed your body to be free for your immune system to work probably 1,000% more than if you would have had not gone through the fast.
It's an amazing, I don't recommend it. This is not something that we're recommending, but I will say to you that for me, um, it was quite an experience to go through it and realize how different I felt, right? To know that um, the connection, the connection that was always there was
I
now awakened. And
I
it's important. It's important to live life the way we're meant to live. And that's what the fasting was all about, is getting me back to that connection.
there was, you just reminded me of a doctor. His name was Norman Walker, and he was the inventor of the Walker juicer.
Hmm.
There is this it's like a machine that you put open fibers fruits into a bag, and then it compresses and it gives you this juice extract. Now, he when he was at the age of 40, he had I think he had some form of cancer, but he lived up to 117 years of age.
Wow.
He understood something about himself that he couldn't see before. He said, if you want to have more of life, you need to intake more of life, which means the living food. I know we're coming close to an end
Yeah,
to our show. I definitely need to share more on another session. But
right.
Sister Giovanna, what would be the one takeaway for today that you, or a call to action that you would like to share with our audience?
From my heart to yours, if you're ready to awaken your soul, get in touch with us, because it is the greatest feeling in the world to feel free, free to be me. So that is where life gives you great surprises for you to experience the best that life has to offer.
We
So,
we would we would really love to connect with you personally.
mhm,
We have a Facebook group called Sparking Change for Success. Please make sure search for it and join our group. Would love to connect with you if you have any concerns, any questions. We may have a lot of useful material for you.
absolutely. It's a we're here to serve. We're here to serve because we went through it. We know life is so much different because we found our passion, our calling, and we're working with the soul to help others feel the truth of who you are. And to live in truth is to live in harmony. Well, thank you
Beautifully
everyone
said.
for joining us today. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone.
I'm your co-host, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change for Harmonious Living. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change for Harmonious Living.